Here we go. We're rolling into this fight card with bets. Pro Schmo community. Right into the bets. 50% of total account on Daniel Santos against Davy Grant. All right. And we're getting into this injury news too. All right. On this card, you have, Belbita, Diana Belbita, who snapped an arm. Molly McCann snapped her arm. She tore a ligament and she's back. Up a weight class too. You can't just do that. You just can't go up to flyweight from being a strawweight. You ask Rose Namajunas. It's wild. And you also have another fighter. Oh, goodness. Estelle Nunes, man. Estelle Nunes had that arm shattered. So she's going into this fight without an arm, practically. That's tough to recover from. All right. It's not just ligaments. It's the bone. It's wild, man, against Loma Lukbuni. All right. And we're going into this fight card right away. We got Loma Lukbuni versus Estelle Nunes. And there's not much to say here except Estelle's a phenomenal striker. Don't get me wrong, has to move up a weight class. I think that, if they were to resign her, she has to go up to flyweight. Look, Boomy's got this in the bag. She's a great Muay Thai striker. And over the course of the last 2-3 fight camps, she has improved that takedown defense with scrambles, getting back to her feet, and working against the octagon wall like never before. All right, so that's good news. You always want to see that in a fighter that's minus 800, all right, on the odds. Vanessa Demopoulos, man, she fought Lupita Godinez for the strawweight LFA championship belt. Isn't that crazy? She's got hands, Vanessa Demopoulos. Talita Al-Ansar, she's at fight ready. It looks like she's just doing what she can, with her niche. It's the grappling, right? All she's doing is just pretty much polishing that up, developing that as best she can to chain that, her striking and wrestling, so she could, get some control time, potentially win on a ground and pound. But to do that to Vanessa Demopoulos, wow. This fight goes the distance. I think it'll be controversial, and Talita Al-Ansar, because of Vanessa Demopoulos turning 37 years of age this year, will get the nod. I think Talita Al-Ansar also has the earlier contract. So, again, businesses as business does. It is what it is. I love Vanessa here in this spot, but Talita Al-Ansar by political robbery. Victor Henry. Here we go. Victor Henry, Pedro Falcao. Hey, these guys grapple their asses off, all right? One does jiu-jitsu. The other one's a catch wrestler, has jiu-jitsu under his belt. I think this guy, Victor Henry, has a taekwondo base, ideally. And it's very competitive, right? The catch wrestler has always had that fight against the grapplers, right, in the UFC. Well, it's a niche. It's a niche in this art of wrestling. If you have not heard, look it up. Read a little bit about its history. Judo borrows from it. There's a lot of other arts that borrow from it, but pretty exciting, this fight. I think that despite both of them blending and chaining their striking well to wrestling, to grappling, you're going to see Pedro Falcao just win minutes of ground control or relentless time against the octagon wall there. I don't think anybody wants to meet in the middle either. I think Victor Henry apprehensive about getting taken down, or Pedro, doesn't want to get finished on the feet or by ground and pound. It's just going to be scrambles, rolling, wrestling, grappling until potentially a finish. All right, again, 37 years of age. If you follow the trends, it's Pedro Falcao, 32 years of age on the money line. I like Victor Henry, don't get me wrong, man. That guy, he's a hard worker, man. I like that guy. But Pedro, he's got cardio, man. That's why I can't really put money on Victor Henry here. It's just a night and day difference between, who suffers in cardio through the rounds and whatnot. Sometimes you want to hold an opponent against the wall, like Rice McKee. Rice McKee here, he's adopted something I saw when he fought Chidian Chikwani. He's buying himself time now, knowing that his cardio suffers through the rounds. Right? After round 2, it's over for him. So he buys himself some time in round 1. And I seen that. Also, his right hand, man, it's charging. It's charged waiting, man, to land. Already 2 fights between Ange Lusa and Chidian Chikwani. I think it's time. All right, so we got Rice McKee here on the money line against Daniel Frunza. Let's see. What's next? We got Diana Barbosa. Hey, Diana Belbita is game. Don't get me wrong, she's game, but she's moving up a weight class, and she's got that ligament there that she's recovering from. She's recovered from. Here's the thing. I think folks are confusing Dion Barbosa with Gabriela Fernandez. All right, these are two different Brazilian girls that may look about the same but are different. Diana Belbita, if she improves her strength and conditioning, you'll see a different fighter out of her. You don't just move from strawweight to flyweight. Ask Rose Namajunas is why she lost her fight with Erin Blanchfield, okay? Next fight, we have Davy Grant, Daniel Santos. That's 50% of the total account play. 50%. Why? Hey, listen, the last four, first of all, the age. So you got to go with the trend here. It's a younger fighter, Daniel Santos, not just any fighter, jukebox, all right? These are I know they all lose, but hey, these are great, aggressive strikers. And Davy Grant, he does keep his neck out there. He is orthodox. That footwork, questionable. In his last 4 or 5 fights, they're all strikers. And you got a guy like Daniel who's willing to exchange in the pocket. And he grapples too. He'll submit you. Now, I know a lot of folks are watching tape and they're watching Julio Arce. Julio Arce's got phenomenal footwork, guys. Phenomenal footwork. Very difficult to take down. Davy Grant, despite his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, well, hello. Daniel Santos, he's got grappling too. All right, I think Daniel Santos is just too strong. And his cardio, man, it holds up through the rounds. This guy's in his prime. He's fighting a veteran, you know, who's way past his prime. At 39, brother, you're aching at 33, 34. At 39, and you're crossing 7 time zones, and they're not slotting you for UFC London anymore. You know, Leon Edwards is like, what, 32, 33? Unfortunately, the early prelims, you know, you have debuting fighters now like Vucenic. So there's no room for Grant anymore. This is it. It's retirement. It's retirement. There's nothing else I could say. So it's Daniel Santos on the money line. Luis Gurriel, O'Day Osborne. Listen, O'Day had to do his job and finish Martinez. That's it. When he fought him, he couldn't. All right? O'Day's very inconsistent. Sharp striker, strong round 1. Do you know who Luis Gurriel is? Guys, listen, if this guy needed to, he has to hold on to a single leg in case he gets clipped, right? He can grapple, take your back, and he can strike. If you thought Miles Johns was incredible, wait till you see Luis Gurriel in his debut. Let's go. In his prime, too, man. This guy should have been a popular bet, but he's not. Davy Grant is the popular bet. Torres Finney against Robert Valentin. Hey, listen, the octagon is very small here. All right, we're talking about a 25-footer. That's it. Okay, so Torres is going to do what he wants with Robert. Robert will be back. He's a great grappler. He can chain it well. His striking, this guy is game, man. He's got heart. He's a dog for sure. But Torres Finney, man, he's going to have that very boring decision, or it's a ground and pound on Robert Valentin, unfortunately. Let's see. We got Gerald Meerschaert. Hey, 19 years of age. 19, both. Brad Tavares, Gerald Meerschaert, 19 years of age. They got into MMA. Brad Tavares was a football player in college. What was he also doing? He was not just cross country. He was also doing cross country in high school. And GM3 was aspiring to music. I think he wanted to teach music. And he was doing taekwondo or karate. So we have him here now, right? Brad Tavares, a black belt, and has not submitted anybody in the UFC. And then Gerald Meerschaert has got a black belt, submitted everybody, but he has not knocked anybody out. Now, has he knocked down people? He's hurt a few people. Let's put it that way. And I think Brad Tavares eventually has to fold. Okay, I'm going with the more experienced fighter here, and someone who has cardio that could drive him through the rounds, and a fighting style that could win you minutes. And that's not Brad Tavares. It's GM3, and it's unfortunate a lot of people are not talking about him as a dog because of his age. Cortavius Romeus, Kennedy and Chikwani, I got to skip. We all know that's an industry play. Everybody wants Kennedy to win. So I'm not touching Kennedy. Everybody, Martin Budai, what's he going to do? Clinch him against the wall? Kennedy could do whatever he wants. Reverse him and clinch him, buy him time. You know, buy himself some time, you know, and or finish him, knock him out. That's it. Everybody knows Kennedy and Chikwani, number 15, is moving up after this fight to fight someone that's higher ranked and make an exciting heavyweight fight out of him. Cortavius Romeus, Chang Ho Lee, very popular. Chang Ho Lee, this guy, right? Because he wrestles, right? They like fighters who maul people. Can he strike? Yes, but he's not got Cortavius's boxing. We've seen Romeus getting needled. He's like having therapy done on him, acupuncture, I think maybe physical therapy. I'm not sure what the hell's going on. I'll stay away from this fight because if Cortavius is on, he's knocking out Chang Ho Lee. And if he's off, he's getting submitted by Chang Ho Lee. So pick your poison. Let's go next. What do we got? Joe Anderson, Brito, Pat Sabatini, man. Wow, the 34-year-old. Now, hey, listen, I love the Renzo Gracie gym. I like the boys there, Joe Pfeiffer, Sean Brady. I'm actually in Philadelphia as we speak right now. Isn't that crazy? So, Joe Anderson, Brito, he's strong. He's powerful, but the volume is not there. He can power punch. He can do it all. But I didn't like Jonathan Pierce on Brito's back, if I recall. I didn't like that. So if you're telling me that Joe Anderson Brito is going to finish Pat Sabatini, I think, Pat warrants that sort of doubt. I guarantee you he does because he's been finished. But knowing how vulnerable Brito can be in the grappling, I think Pat Sabatini can get this done. Brito is an offensive grappler, good for him. In any scramble, Pat Sabatini is much more calculated and I think can take Brito's back. Don't get me wrong. I think Brito can get winded here. I think Pat has no choice but to have a game plan or fight style like that of Sean Brady. All right, and I think he could get Brito down too. So Pat Sabatini on the spread plus 3.5. If it's available, I think that's a good bet. All right, here we go. Next, we have Josh Emmett. Man, he's taking too many hits to the head. I understand his power, his overhands. I understand. Okay, I get it. He can box in the middle. He's so strong, man. It's wild to see. But you think Lerone Murphy is going to be anywhere around that range? He's going to control the distance, folks. This is what Lerone Murphy does. He's got a jab. He can do anything, teep kicks, anything to keep his distance. Josh Emmett, he won a very close decision against Calvin Kattar. And I think this is how Josh Emmett pretty much ends his career. All right, I think he's going to get a very close decision. If he can wrestle, if Josh Emmett, and he will, get Lerone Murphy down at least twice, then I think that as close as those minutes will be, it goes to decision, and the judges are going to give it to Lerone Murphy, in my opinion. All right, folks, so you heard it here first. If you want a synopsis, you want the synthesis of all the data we have for this fight card, you go on proschmobets.com and you draw it out that way. If you want a detailed summary of how the fight could result between Daniel Santos and Davy Grant, send me a DM on Instagram. You heard it here first.